Good morning. As is tradition, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that we really did not get much of a dew overnight. The ground and plant material is already dry, so I think these soybeans are going to cut very early this morning. It's only 7:45. I bet by 8:30 they would test, so we're going to try them out. The bad news, though, is that we have to fix the bubble auger in Katie's S670 combine that we sheared last night. That is going to be, one, not fun to lift up there, and two, probably not cheap. Neil Tire is also supposed to come out at some point today or tomorrow to fix that screw that's in this outside Dole. You can't see it because it's on the downward side right now. I marked the rim so you could tell where it is. If I had to guess, the nail or screw that's in the tire of the grain cart tractor probably originated from right over there in between those two poles where there was a house 2 or 3 years ago. We had that tornado come through here, and a lot of the debris from the house, that farmstead in general, ended up in these two fields that we're farming. Besides, they don't use screws anywhere else other than that house right there. Nowhere else they could have came from. Dad's on his way up the road now with the replacement auger. We're gonna see if we can get it dropped in.
Got the bolts?
They're in the cab. I haven't unlocked it. What do you think the easiest way to do this is, to hand it up, or? Easiest and cheapest aren't always the same.
Yeah, and then the easy cheaper to go have that welded.
How much was it? $1,200.
Are you ready? Not really. And I said,
oh man, this one, is this not heavier than the other one?
well, hell yes, it's heavy. It's early in the morning.
Oh, my nuts. Oh, your hand?
All right. I got 2 of them.
You ready?
Don't scratch it.
The new auger assembly is installed. We're going to try and replace this drive gear here on the bottom side that's worn a little bit, if we can get it off.
Let's just run it this way today.
We couldn't get the bolt off that held the gear, and we didn't want to run the risk of breaking something that we can't repair trying to do so we left it. It's close enough to operational to not matter, and I think we're gonna go cut a sample. Okay, we're gonna see if we can get this thing to run. The yield monitor on this combine is about as unreliable as they come. I do think the moisture sensor is pretty close, so these are still a shade over 14. Probably ought to wait a little bit to cut them. There's your sign they need a little bit. Not one to cut very good this morning. Rough estimate, probably 30 minutes to an hour, and then we'll just send it and finish this field and move home. A little after 10 a.m., it's go time. What are the beans testing through there, Dad?
13.5, 13.3, 13.4, 13.2, 13.1.
So a little over 13%. That's perfect. 6'9", 1100 and 50-foot draper running in the neighborhood. Bet that thing's a bean-eating monster. Back to home base. Got a lot of acres of soybeans around here that look like they're ready to cut. I was kind of planning on him fueling up, so I was standing there to help, but it looks like he's gonna go cut beans. Hey, will you grab me a bolt and a nut?
Short one?
Those are longer. They're going right.
No, it's the shorter one, I think. For a medium length one.
Take your pick.
Do we have a bolt laying up there? 2 of them?
That rock right there, that was in the feeder house of Katie's combine, and this piece of metal, maybe barn door hardware, most likely from the tornado a few years back. For the reason we were working on Katie's head, she had 4 broken sickle sections and 1 guard. Figured we might as well get it fixed before we start a new field. There's no place like home, right? I haven't got a moisture report from the combines yet, but the beans do look plenty dry coming out the back. We finished up with the Beck's 3555 Extend Flex beans, 6-7 miles to the north. We're back down home right around the main farm. These are a Pioneer 35 T15 Enlist soybean. I don't have the final tally from the elevator on those Beck's beans just because I didn't run every single bushel through the grain cart, so I'm gonna wait and see what they say for dry bushels before I tell you the yield on those. Not expecting these beans to do as well. A lot of moisture variability out here, and I think just down south, we didn't catch the rainfalls they did up north. That's why both of those bean fields were 5 to 10 bushel better than everything we've cut so far down here. There's really still quite a few green pods and beans in these. However, the one advantage we have here is that we are putting most of them into our north bean bin. You can harvest a lot of green beans so long as you're threshing them all, getting them all in the grain tank. They'll dry a little bit in the grain bin. Well, let me say, that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they harden up in there and rot, and you're in there with a pickaxe in a couple months trying to get them down so they'll empty. cutting right south of the house, and Lenny decided to hop in and go for a ride with us.
Mommy.
Not only did he get in the cab, he also brought cookies. And he totally did not eat one. Lenny, did you have a cookie?
I have a cookie.
Oh, okay. I thought he was going to say no. We can't tell you had a cookie. There's not chocolate all over your face or your hands or your shirt.
Dot. Dot. What?
You're funny.
Mommy.
What are you doing right now?
Mommy.
Should we take a cookie to Chris and Jeff?
We guess. Yes, we guess.
Yeah, okay, we'll take one to Chris next. Some of you may have noticed the peculiar cutting pattern from the drone footage. We stopped cutting about right in line straight south of the main shed. For some reason, whether it be soil type or added moisture, probably topography causing that, those beans are still really green, not fully mature. So we decided, as opposed to cutting 17% beans with a lot of green pods, we're gonna leave them and come back to them later.
Days like this afternoon, Andy, there won't be any wet beans.
That's funny that Dad says that. Well, it's a good day to cut beans. I don't. Do you think you can run those green ones through or no?
No, I don't want to run them through.
Well, there's his justification. They're plenty dry this afternoon. We're gonna have a lot of beans to cut moving forward. Look at that dust rolling off the S780.
How many bushel do you have on there?
Okay, we finally completed our first full field of these 35 T15s. We cut 70 acres over here, but we were unable to finish the beans because of the green spot, so I couldn't really give you an official measurement. We got 20 acres right here that we just cut. According to LibreCart, they made right at 80 bushels an acre, which is pretty good. I thought our beans down here would not yield as well as our beans up there. These were within a couple bushels. We're chewing away on the next field of soybeans just behind the farm, or by we, I should mean Katie is. Dad disappeared to go fuel up his combine, go figure. The S780 is a thirsty combine for sure, and not too hard to just drop your head out in the field and go to the fuel tank. Here comes Dad racing back with the S780, refueled and rejuvenated. Let's just hope he doesn't run over the corner post.
What'd you say?
It looks like this is going to be the first night of the season where we start cutting once the sun is set. The beans are dry moisture-wise, which means we can go ahead and load the trucks, load the carts. They're running 10, 11, maybe 12%. They pick up 1% to 1.5%. It's not a big deal because even if they do go to the elevator, they'll still be within that acceptable range where we're not getting docked a lot, or they'll go into the bin. So it's a win-win. We pick up that free moisture overnight. What you'll start to see when the beans are this dry is they will actually slowly pick up harvesting moisture both on the moisture content and on the plants. Typically we see the plants get too hard to cut from that moisture setting in before we see them get too wet in terms of their moisture content. Once the heads start dragging up here in the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're gonna have to shut down. Probably run out of storage space before that happens anyway, so not a big deal. Obviously, we are not in a combine right now, so we don't get to see the first-hand effect of that dew setting in overnight, but it'll become fairly obvious because the dust will literally disappear. The combines will go from making this absolute smoke screen that you're seeing right now to essentially nothing coming out the back other than just that chaff that's from harvesting. A lot of dust right now. I'll bet within that 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, there won't be anything left. It's really crazy to see the difference between cutting 14% beans that are a little bit on the wet side to cutting these beans at 10% this evening that are super dry. There's so much dust out here you wouldn't even believe it, and it's blowing right towards all the houses at the farm. So hopefully no one's cleaned their windows yet. Did I speculate that it'd take 60 minutes? We hardly made it 20 before they got tough. That's all right. I'm ready to go home to see my family. You can see how poorly it was cutting. Dad was dragging up a bunch. That's typically the reason you got to shut down at night. The only thing that can really keep you running is if there's a nice breeze going into the evening. That'll keep that dew from setting in, or if it's just bone dry out here, which there's plenty of moisture in the beans still. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that it is quitting time. Look what the cat did again. Alrighty everyone, got my hands full. The dogs are excited to see me, so I'm gonna take off for the night. As always, I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day everyone. Peace!